In this lesson, we'll cover moving and copying. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually use the move command. Now, you can select something first, then start the move command, or you can start the move command first, then select whatever you want to move. What I'll do for the first example is select something first. So I'm going to pick one of the diffusers on your screen. And the diffuser is actually the square with an X through it. Now, once I select it, it becomes highlighted. You see dimensions for where it's placed and the properties display for that element on the left in the property area. Now, to invoke or start the move command, in the middle of your ribbon, on the modify panel, I'll select move. Once you select that, Revit is now asking you to pick a base point to start your measurement from, so you know how far you're moving and in what direction. Typically, I like to choose a center point or an end point of whatever object it is I'm moving, but it doesn't have to be that way. So in this example here, I'm going to select the midpoint. After you select that, once you start to move your mouse, you actually see a distance showing you how far away from that point this object is being moved. If you're moving on an angle, you'll see an angular dimension too as well, from horizontal or vertical. It's dependent on the orientation as you pull. Now, you could constrain this by choosing the constrain button on the options bar, meaning it will only be vertical or horizontal, or again, unconstrain it. Now, you can key in a numeric distance too, if you couldn't choose or it doesn't display the distance you want as you drag. In this case here, if I just want this to go 7 feet, I'll drag my mouse to its 7 feet, and then I'll left click again, and it places it 7 feet. Now, to undo anything you did, say you didn't want to move it there, or you made a mistake when you moved it and accidentally selected something, to undo this, you can simply click the undo button on the quick launch bar at the very top of Revit. In this next example, I'll start the move command first. So go to the modify tab on the ribbon, then in the modify panel, choose the move command. Once you do that, Revit is now asking you to select whatever it is that you want to move. So now I'll select the same diffuser again. Now, after you do that, you're still in a selection mode. So what Revit needs you to do now is tell it it's done selecting, and then you can actually start the move. So to end the selection, just hit the Enter key. Now Revit is asking you to pick a base point, similar to what we did in the previous example, for where you want to move from. So again, I'll pick the center point of this diffuser. Now I'll start dragging right or left, up or down. Let's say I'm just going to move it to the right 6 feet. So I'll move it over 6 feet, left click, and now it's placed. And I'm going to undo this one again. Now the copy command works very similar to move. The only difference is that it copies, and you can make multiple copies. Just like we did with the move, let's start out by the first example of copy by selecting the element you want to copy first. I'm going to choose this diffuser again. Once I do that, on the ribbon in the modify panel, I'll select the copy command. Now, if the copy command started, just like with the move command, it's asking me to pick a base point. And like I did with the move command, I'll choose the center of the diffuser, and then I'm going to move my mouse vertically 8 feet, and then left click. And I made a copy. Now you can also make multiple copies. So for this example here, let's start the copy command first. So go to the modify tab. In the modify panel, click copy. And just like the move command, Revit's asking you now to choose whatever you want to copy. So select the diffuser you just copied. After you're done selecting, hit the Enter key. And now before we pick a base point, on the options bar, click multiple, because this will allow me to make multiple copies. Now let's pick our base point. Move back into the center of the actual diffuser, click it, and drag your mouse to the right, let's say 7 feet. Left click to place it, drag to the right of that diffuser, 7 feet. Left click to place it. And you can keep going and going and going, making as many copies as you want until you end the command, simply by clicking the escape key. And then if I wanted to undo those, I could use the undo arrow. When undoing a multiple copy, it will only undo one at a time. So as I click undo, it doesn't undo everything in that multiple copy command. It does one at a time versus everything. So what we covered in this lesson was how to move objects and how to copy objects. We looked at starting the move command first and also starting the copy command first, then selecting. And then we also looked at selecting objects first, then starting your commands. And with the copy command, we looked at how to make multiple copies.